Coming up, a new poll shows President Trump's approval ratings are heading upward. We'll tell you why. And Sunday was the anniversary of an event that left several police officers dead. We hear from family members. And some coal miners in 2 eastern Kentucky counties won't want to miss a story we have coming up about employment help following recent news about their company going bankrupt.
Dedicated to eastern and southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning, I'm Connor James on this Monday. The time is 6:32 and today is July 8th. Let's check in with Brandon Robinson for a look at your forecast this morning. Brandon, happy Monday.
Happy Monday, my friend, and we're going to continue to see that old familiar thing we've been looking at for the last week or so. Fog this morning. We'll take a look at the cameras first. We start at the Mountain Parkway up in Slade, which is in Powell County, and you can see a little fog in the distance there, dense fog across a big chunk of the area. Some spots that are less than 1 mile there, very dense fog. Logan, Prestonsburg, Williamsburg, Monticello, Jonesville, and Pikeville at 0 visibility, so just be careful. Live pinpoint Doppler radar pretty quiet this morning. That's some good news for you. Temperatures mild and muggy, 70s across the board with the exception of Somerset, Harlan, Jacksboro, and Wise this morning. At Cache, you are going to see temperatures climb as the skies start to clear, getting into the mid-80s by later on this afternoon. Muggy conditions will linger too as we head through the first part of the week. I'll have the rest of the forecast coming up here in just a few minutes. Connor?
All right, thank you, Brandon. If you are an employee of Black Jewel Mining Company, listen up. Harlan County Judge Executive Dan Mosley coordinated a meeting for coal miners to meet with representatives from East Kentucky Concentrated Employment Program about their unemployment situation. The meeting starts at 2:30. Mosley is also handing out official letters for miners to give to their creditors. Miners who had their paychecks bounce are encouraged to report the issue to the Kentucky Department of Labor. Information on unemployment will be provided at the meeting. A meeting will be held in Letcher County at noon on Wednesday at the Letcher County Recreational Center as well. A new poll shows President Trump's approval rating is at the highest level of his presidency, but he continues to face a barrage of criticism from his handling of the border crisis to leaked diplomatic cables about his administration. CBS's Nicole Killian is traveling with the president.
As President Trump wrapped up his weekend at his New Jersey golf club, a new Washington Post ABC News poll showed 44% of voting-age Americans approve of Mr. Trump, an all-time high since he entered office. But 53% disapprove. The president has had a majority disapproval rating for his entire term, a record for any commander-in-chief in the modern era. While the poll also gave the president high marks on the economy, it showed a majority of Americans are dissatisfied with his handling of immigration.
We've got an administration that has intentionally used cruelty to children as a tool of immigration policy.
The acting Secretary of Homeland Security defended conditions at migrant detention centers, which his own agency described in an internal watchdog report as a ticking time bomb.
There's adequate food and water because the facility's cleaned every day, because I know what our standards are and I know they're being followed.
On Twitter, the president blamed the media for phony and exaggerated accounts of the border detention centers, adding, "People should not be entering our country illegally only for us to have to care for them."
People that came from unbelievable poverty, that had no water, they had no anything, where they came from. Those are people that are very happy with what's going on because, relatively speaking, they're in much better shape right now. The Border Patrol and all of the law enforcement that's working on the border, it's incredible what they're doing.
In a series of leaked diplomatic cables, Britain's ambassador to the U.S. described the Trump administration as dysfunctional, diplomatically clumsy, and inept. The memos were initially reported by the Daily Mail.
We're not big fans of that man, and he has not served the UK well.
Britain's Foreign Office is not disputing the authenticity of the memos. It insists it has strong relations with the White House that will withstand what it calls mischievous behavior. Nicole Killian, CBS News, Berkeley Heights, New Jersey.
Officials with Facebook and Twitter were not invited to attend a White House social media summit on Thursday. According to sources familiar with the matter, they say they weren't surprised and they believe the event wouldn't hit on issues facing large technology companies, but rather be a right-wing grievance session. Many Republicans and conservative media personalities have claimed there's anti-conservative media bias on social media. The White House has not publicly disclosed who has been invited, and a spokesperson has declined to comment. Meanwhile, the Trump administration focused on getting the citizenship question on the 2020 census. Later today, new court filings are expected to reveal the new legal team set to take over the case at the Justice Department. This comes as concerns grow about the migrant detention centers. John Lawrence reports.
President Trump focused on getting a citizenship question on the 2020 census.
We can do a memorandum, we can do an executive order, we're looking at different things, but there are other alternatives.
The Supreme Court recently ruled that the Department of Commerce didn't provide a strong enough reason to add it, but they did leave a little leeway.
They said, tell you what, administration, if you can come back to us and give us legitimate reasons, we'll reconsider. And so that's the crack that the administration is trying to squeeze through now.
The citizenship question hasn't been on the census since 1950, and getting it back could be an uphill battle for the Trump White House.
They're up against the clock. This census has to happen in 2020.
Later this month, a district court judge in New York will hear arguments that call for stopping the administration from adding the question. As this legal battle moves forward, President Trump says the media can get a first-hand view of the facilities holding migrants.
I'm going to start showing some of these detention centers to the press. I want the press to go in and see them.
Last month, a team of doctors, lawyers, and advocates warned of what they say are major health and hygiene problems at several border facilities in Texas. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
A New York Times report this weekend described outbreaks of chickenpox, scabies, and shingles among the children held at a Texas facility. And Sunday marked the third anniversary of a deadly rampage that killed 5 Dallas police officers. Rick Zamarripa says the pain of losing his son Patrick has not gotten any easier. On July 7th, 2016, a lone gunman terrorized downtown Dallas, killing 5 officers, including Patrick. They were protecting hundreds of marchers peacefully protesting police brutality.
These memories today are coming back of what happened. You know, I can remember I was sitting there watching TV when it happened. A news flash came, gunfire downtown, and I knew, for instance, Patrick's downtown.
This was the memorial outside Dallas Police Headquarters after the shooting. Squad cars blanketed with heartfelt notes and tributes. Later this week, the Dallas Police Department will unveil a sculpture in memory of the officers killed that day. And deputies in Perry County are cracking down on underage drinking on Lost Mountain. They say they get weekly calls about littering and accidents in the area. Deputies plan on patrolling the area and putting cameras up. Anyone who is caught doing something illegal will be prosecuted. A wealthy money manager whose friends have included presidents and a prince is behind bars in Manhattan. Jeffrey Epstein is accused of sex trafficking and molesting underage girls. As CBS's Mola Lenghi reports, it's the latest in a string of allegations.
Epstein's arrest by federal agents in New Jersey Saturday came as he stepped off his private jet when it arrived from Paris. The 66-year-old multi-millionaire hedge fund manager, also a registered sex offender, is accused of paying underage girls for massages and molesting them at his homes in Florida and New York, according to the Associated Press. Epstein has surrounded himself with a high-profile circle of friends, including then-private citizen Donald Trump, Prince Andrew, and former President Bill Clinton, who reportedly took more than 24 trips on Epstein's private jet between 2001 and 2003. In 2002, Donald Trump told New York Magazine, quote, "I've known Jeff for 15 years, terrific guy, and that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side." These charges in the Southern District of New York come more than a decade after Epstein's legal team struck a secret deal with federal prosecutors in Florida who allowed him to plead guilty to 2 lesser sex charges in state court. He served just 13 months in a county jail and was granted work release.
The nominee for Secretary of the Department of Labor will be Mr. Alex Acosta.
That non-prosecution agreement was arranged by Epstein's legal team and current Labor Secretary Alexander Acosta, who served as U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Florida at the time. Epstein's victims were kept in the dark and could not object. Brad Edwards, an attorney representing a young woman in the case, spoke to CBS News' Jerika Duncan in December.
Local victims have said that when they were 14, 15 years old, they brought 25, 30 girls to him. That's just one person. Nobody has really had the opportunity or ability to see how deep this goes in any other jurisdiction.
Federal agents searched Epstein's New York home Saturday night. He's scheduled to be in court Monday, where we'll learn whether Epstein will be granted bond. Also, the indictment, which led to his arrest, will be unsealed, revealing more details about the case against him. Mola Lenghi, CBS News, New York.
Now let's check in with Brandon Robinson for a look at your forecast this morning. Brandon?
Still foggy outside the WIMT studios, a little cloudy as well, so just kind of keep that in mind as you travel. Lots of dense fog across the eastern half of the region, basically everywhere, so just be extra careful, use those low beams and take it easy this morning. Temperatures in the 60s and 70s, with 74 being the warm spot. The out-the-door forecast features, again, the possibility for a stray shower in the heat of the day, but I think most of the time we're just going to see those clearing skies and sunshine by late day. Connor?
All right, we'll have stories trending on WYMT.com next. Thanks for joining us on Mountain News this morning. Also on the way, how one woman was killed after her plane went down on the Mississippi golf course. And more on a developing story out of St. Louis, where police have found several people dead.